Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. I do hope that you're well. So today is the 26th of July, and we're going to be doing an energy reading today with the cards and my own intuition and channeling ability to talk about the Leo new moon on the 28th of July, which is this Thursday. But really, this feels as though it is an introduction to the energies of Lionsgate on 8/8. I'm also, though, being drawn to the 11th of August, where we have Lunar Lamass, full moon in Aquarius. So I feel as though we've got that whole corridor between now and the 11th of August full moon. So new moon in Leo, Lionsgate in the middle, and then a full moon in Aquarius. And what happens when you put fire and air together? That can be pretty explosive. So it's definitely a case of hang on to your hats. I'm going to start in a way that I haven't before for a little while. It's been requested. Do you remember my little game of snakes and ladders? But it's actually yoga, snakes and arrows. I've talked about this before. It comes from this book, which is called The Yoga of Snakes and Arrows. Okay, I'll put it in the description box below. But anyway, I can't remember where we were when we last shook the dice, because we've got 72 squares, all of which talk about different realms of consciousness, different attributes, different qualities, different properties, virtues, and for want of a better word, sins, although I don't like the word sins, I've called it wrongdoings in the Christ Consciousness deck. And a wrongdoing would be something such as greed, for example, is the first one that jumps out here in our little grid. So what I'm going to suggest is that we're going to start on number 26 as our launch pad, because it is the 26th as I record this. And the 26th placement is the energy of sorrow. Okay, so we're going to start from a place of acknowledging the sorrow in the world and in ourselves. Something we often wish to run away from, but which when we face can be very profound in terms of helping us to break through to the next part of life. Funnily enough, I'll link it below in the description box, but as I was getting ready today to talk to you, I was watching a video from somebody who'd had a near-death experience. Now, there's loads of these types of videos on YouTube, and they're interesting. I don't tend to watch them very much, but this one caught my eye for whatever reason. And I think it was and is particularly profound because the man that is basically talking about his near-death experience, I believe he's an Englishman, he was basically saying goodbye to a friend on a train platform, and as the doors closed, his coat caught itself in the train door, and what basically happened was he was dragged underneath the train, suffered very severe injuries, which he did survive, and he looks amazing now, so no long-term damage, but obviously short-term he nearly died. And what's interesting about his testimony is the fact that he so articulately and beautifully describes what he felt when he was in that in-between world of life and death. And what comes across so strongly with it is he's talking about the light, the different qualities of light, and the extraordinary presence of unconditional love. But why I'm talking about it in the context of this video and sorrow is what changed for him, and he was aware of it when he was in this altered state of consciousness in between worlds, was the amount of regrets and sorrows that he had that had been weighing him down in life, so that he had just become incapacitated, totally concerned about his very real issues and problems, but also the sorrows and the regrets, living in the past basically. And what this near-death experience did to him was it jolted him into a new reality, which was the present moment, where we open up to whatever has happened to us. We are still here, we are still breathing, we're here for a reason. So he basically, he came back and from the brink, and he's now producing beautiful artwork, classical music, even though he's never been able to write music before, all that type of stuff. Just amazing story. You can watch it, I'll link it below. But yeah, sorrow. So let's just think about our own sorrows, our baggage, things that might have happened in the past, which are still heavy on our hearts. And let's see where sorrow can take us. Before I do that, Metatron's saying, let's just pull a card on sorrow itself. So I'm going to just go to the Metatron deck itself. I'm going to be using only a couple of decks in this reading. I'm going to do something a bit different. I'll show you in a minute. But anyway, let's just pull a card for sorrow. So, oh, hold on. Let me do that again, because about a third of the pack flew out, which is interesting in its own right, because I think it's saying that sorrow can take you to virtually, well, so many places. It can take you to the brink of despair and not wanting to be here, and it can also take you to the highest peaks. And what I mean by that is it launches you into a new life, into doing something that you've never done before. Channeling that sorrow into something productive. Anyway, let's just see. So can I just have one card, please? Archangel Metatron, for the energy of sorrow. Block number 26. We have the energy of air, fly free. And we have the card of conquering fear as well on the bottom of the deck. I think sometimes we're frightened to go into our sorrow because we think if we fall into it, we're going to be consumed by it. Which is not the case if you go into it with the support of your angels, your guides, whatever it is that you believe in. Again, going back to this man's testimony today, what he was saying is that he met a number of celestial beings when he was in this in-between world. And what he realized was that the celestial beings that came to help heal him and show him insight were also the same celestial beings that had been walking with him all the way through his life. He just hadn't fully realized it or acknowledged it. And then being jolted back to life and remembering that they absolutely are with us, and they're completely with us through our darkest moments and our saddest moments, it makes it all manageable. So don't be frightened to go into the sorrow if that's what's coming up for you, this Lion's Gate. But equally, we have the energy of air, which is about freedom, flying free, breathing. It's also this card of air. We have the octahedron, which is the platonic solid that resonates with the heart chakra. So it's also saying, allow your heart to have a clear out. And what I'm being shown is that those of you that are healers may very well do this technique anyway. And this can be applicable to any healing modality that you do. We teach, for example, Archangel Metatron colour healing. Many of you also may be doing Reiki, all sorts of other different modalities. It doesn't matter. But the thing that you can add into it is the gift of your own breath. So when you are, for example, if you're a practitioner and you're over somebody's heart, you blow with your own breath. And you blow, it's as though you're envisioning that you're blowing out the cobwebs of the heart. So you're clearing with your breath, but equally then you blow in the gift of consciousness. Okay, so it's clearing, and then it's also putting something back in, which is the breath of God. Okay, so just feel that that is important. I will just say at this junction as well, for those of you that are wanting to do the work of what this part of the video is alluding to, two sprays that obviously are applicable would be the Bluebell Bridge spray for loss and grief. And that isn't just about, you know, loss and grief of losing a partner, losing a child, God forbid, a pet, whatever. It's the loss of different stages of our life. It's the loss of an old identity. It's the loss of innocence. It can be the loss of many different things. And also Metatron saying many people at the moment are actually just lost. They have lost themselves, or they have lost their way to God, okay? They've lost their connection. Again, going back to the video I watched this morning, one of the things that he took from it was the fact that this experience of nearly dying basically reconnected him back to his guides. Now, you don't have to have a near-death experience for this to happen. It's about remembering that your guides are around you and calling them in. But to call them in, and it is as simple as just asking them to be here. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. It's about inviting them in. It's about acknowledging their presence in your life and asking them to maybe be the angel that stands over you and blows the breath of God through your heart, clearing out the cobwebs, but then also replenishing it with beautiful white light. But the Bluebell Bridge, I will just spray it, is a beautiful spray just to assist with any stage of loss. Because until we have acknowledged our loss and our sorrow and what troubles us, it's very hard to have sustained growth. You can jump into something, you can leap into something, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, a new country, but unless you've got to the underlying sadness, you're just going to take that into the new situation, and then it will start to come knocking. And it will come knocking, and it will become louder and louder because it requires attention. It requires the energy of love to help soothe it. So remember, all of this is tied into the energy of now, this Leo new moon, the Lion's Gate, and the full moon in Aquarius. This whole corridor is about maybe facing some of our sorrows, which includes regrets, or living in the past, but the huge portal, the huge Lion's Gate gateway is there to say it's okay to step forward into the present and into the future. Okay, all that being said, let's now shake the dice and see where we go from square 26. Okay, so give it a good old shake. I think I used 2 dice last time, but anyway, I'm going to shake it twice. We've got 3. So slow progress. No, Metatron is correcting me. Slow but steady progress, he's saying. So from 26, we go to 29, which is the energy of irreligiosity. Now, I could hazard a guess what that means, but I could, of course, just pick up the book. I was about to Google it. Irreligiosity. Number 29. Let's see what this one is about. Okay. Okay. The player who lands here discovers his true role in the game and acts out his part without regard to the outcome of his actions. He knows that as long as he listens to the voice of his own inner nature, he need fear nothing. Faith in accordance with the laws of nature. So it's not blind faith, it's faith in accordance with the laws of nature. It is, okay, it gets a bit wordy here. It gets very, very wordy. Okay, let me just read a little bit of it. Which bit do I need to read? Metatron. Okay, I'm just going to read this bit. I'm going to read this bit again. Faith in accordance with the laws of nature is sud arma. Blind faith, which disregards the cosmic principles, leads to adharma. Adharmas are those actions which are contrary to the individual dharma. Adharmas lead him away from his true course and back into first chakra delusion, which is the essence of blind faith. Adharma is working contrary to the laws of existence. At sunrise, everything on the planet changes. Winds, atmospheric pressures, and temperatures change. The tempo of life increases. Sleeping at this time is acting contrary to the laws of the planet. Thus it is adharma. Looting the earth for natural resources, which are then employed without concern for their negative effects on the environment and the needs of the planet, is adharma against the earth. Okay, so we don't want to be doing that. But that is actually saying that's sort of where we might be falling into traps. So are our actions contrary to our true nature? Are our actions and thoughts contrary to what is best for us, best for others, best for the planet? So we just need to sit with that for a moment. And it feels as though there needs to be a evaluation that we all do before we take the steps through the Lion's Gate, to see whether what we want is aligned to divine will, our soul's calling. Yeah, you see, because again, it's so important, this video that I watched this morning. It's so tied into this reading. I hadn't realised, because the guy who got his coat caught in the train doors is because he was rushing. He was rushing. He was trying to go forward. He was rushing to say goodbye and then rushing off to do the next thing. He wasn't aligned. He wasn't in the present moment. He was also trying to run from his past. So we've really got to think quite a lot here about what we're running away from, what we need to be walking towards, but from a very steady and assured pace, aligned to spirit, approved of by our guides. I mean, it's not really approved, isn't quite the right words, but encouraged would be a better word. Encouraged by our guides, rather than just going off nefariously with regard to maybe selfish desires or wants, or things that are past their sell-by date, or egoic, from an egoic perspective. It's the energy of, I have to make this work. Damn it, I've been doing this long enough, it has to work. Well, no, maybe if it hasn't worked up to this point, maybe it is time to actually realise that it could be a place of drawing the curtains over that and moving into something that is beeping. I'm just getting this loud beeping noise. Beep, beep, beep. Which is actually encouraging you towards something new, because your heart is feeling sorrowful because you're not feeling replenished with what you truly wish to be doing. Okay, and I will just show you the square of irreligiosity. Yeah, try saying that before your second cup of coffee in the morning. It's got the snake's head. The snake's head is right there, okay? So if we're not careful, and in fact, I hadn't realised what actually happens is because we've landed on it, we basically slide all the way back down the snake to number 6, which is delusion. Right, so far, guys, I've come on this morning to try and lift us all up, but I have to just go with what I'm getting here. We've had the energy of sorrow, we've had the energy of irreligiosity, and we've now got the energy of delusion. We've got to get ourselves out of this funk. So how are we going to get out of this funk is the question. How is humanity going to get itself out of the funk? I'm gonna roll the dice one more time. Where is the dice? Right in front of me. Okay, let's see where we land next. Then I'm going to start pulling some cards. Okay, so from delusion, I've now got the energy of Merlin coming in because I'm seeing the snake. The snake can be turned into the staff. Okay, was that Moses as well? It's Moses as well. Didn't Moses? There's something about a snake and it turns into a staff. I think it's both of them, Moses and Merlin. So it's what you do with the snake. It's what you do with the challenge. It's what you do with realizing that maybe you've been deluded. Maybe you have been acting from an egoic perspective rather than a spiritual perspective. It's realizing that you've been running from your sorrow. What do you do with that? Do you sign up for another round of it? No, thank you. Or do you say, okay, right now I'm going to learn from whatever's happened to me and I'm going to get myself out of this pit. This feels very collective. It also feels very personal. It's too easy just to say, oh, it's all collective. It's personal as well. Okay, let's have one more throw of the dice, please, Metatron. He's saying you always get another throw of the dice. Okay, so again, energetically for life, you always get another throw. Wherever you land on this board, and the board is life, there's always another throw of the dice. Right up to your last breath, there's always another throw. So we've got 6 now. So we go up to 12. Oh, God. Okay, so from 12, we go to the energy of envy. We're stuck in some pretty murky energy here. We have envy, and envy is the head of the snake. And envy takes us all the way back down to number 8, which is avarice. Avarice? Isn't avarice greed? No, let me just have a look. I can't remember what avarice is. It's not really a word that we use very much in normal everyday life now, is it? Or I don't anyway. Avarice meaning extreme greed, yeah. So extreme greed for wealth or material gain. He was rich beyond the dreams of avarice. So it's about an inordinate desire for some supposed good. You see, I don't like naming names, but sometimes you have to. It's going to get me into trouble though if I say this. Everyone is good and bad, guys. Don't come shooting the messenger. It's just this morning I was looking at Elon Musk, okay? Because he's in the papers and he might be a very good guy in all sorts of respects. But with extreme wealth, there is this insatiable appetite for more. And past a certain point, it's quite repellent. And he's in the news at the moment because of, I think, another insatiable appetite that he has, which I think is probably women. There's a lot of stories coming out of him with regards to sleeping with other men's wives. Just, I mean, I'm not judging it. Those without sin cast the first stone, all of that. I'm just using him as an example because he is one of the richest men in the world, but he's still not satisfied. He probably never will be satisfied because there will always be a prettier woman. There will always be another pile of money. It's actually a curse to be that rich, to be that wealthy. You also attract people that don't really want to be with you. They want to be with your pay packet, So he's just coming to mind as somebody, and again, he's a reflection of us. He's a reflection of you, and he's a reflection of me. What would we do if we had that amount of money, if we had that amount of status, if we had that amount of power? And right now, you're probably sitting here like I am and saying, well, I wouldn't be like that. I'd be doing X, Y, Z. I'd be donating it all to charity. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. You don't actually know, neither do I, actually, until you're there, until you've walked in anybody's shoes. You do not know what you would do because money and power corrupts, okay? Completely. So you get a double whammy and it's a recipe for disaster, whoever you are, really. But okay, so we've got these energies which are very heavy as we are going through Lion's Gate. Now, Metatron's saying to me, these are also heavy energies because, yes, they are what is in the collective. And he's shown me the collective barometer, the consciousness of humanity. And right now it's like the mercury isn't rising that high, let's put it that way. I mean, yes, there's a lot of us as light workers that are doing very good work, and we are nudging that mercury further and further up the barometer. Some people say we've already reached tipping point, we've already reached mass consciousness. Get my teeth in. I think personally we've got a way to go. I think it's, I don't want to disregard other people's work, but for me, no, we're not there yet. No way are we near where we need to be. I don't watch a lot of the videos which are to do with, the big energy waves that are about to sweep over our planet and solve everything. And I see some other teachers actually talking about them to tell people, no, it's not going to happen. And I just think I'm not even going there, because why am I not going there? Because to me, it's obvious. If you just open your curtains, you go out into your communities, you go out into your towns, you're going to see examples of very poor behaviour, very lower consciousness behaviour. So no, I don't believe we're at tipping point yet, and I don't believe we're at tipping point this year either. But anyway, we're going to keep going, and we're not going to be derailed from getting there eventually. How did I get into all of this? Because Metatron showed me the barometer, and he's saying the barometer is still, on the low spectrum, which is why all of this is coming up that I'm talking about today, because it's out there. It's within you to a degree, it's within me to a degree, and it's out there to a very large degree. And these are, I wasn't expecting this all to come through this morning, because, now what I'm being shown is the Lion's Gate gateway. And yeah, it's there, it's intact, but it's almost as though it's got all these flies around it. And goodness me, what is this? I'm seeing all these flies around the Lion's Gate gateway, and now I'm being shown lumps of meat. Now, of course, lions like meat. I know I'm being very literal here, but this is just trust me where I'm being led to go with this. Lumps of meat, decayed meat. Around the Lion's Gate. Now, we need to clear this up. Geez, we need to clear this up. What is going on here? This is, I don't want to sound all conspiratorial here, but I'm just feeling there's an energy here of the powers that were cottoning on to the fact that there's quite a powerful group of light workers, which includes you, includes me, who are wanting to walk through this portal, as we do every year. Numbers are growing, even though we're not at tipping point, numbers are growing. And it's as though they've laid some traps. And they are trying to contaminate and derail it, but they won't be allowed to. It's very smoke and mirrors energy. Yeah, look at that. That came upside down. Right, this came upside down. This is the card of structure. And it says distill, penetrate, expand, and transmute. It's actually the colour I'm wearing. I've never worn this shirt before. It's the same colour. It's the purple ray. It's the energy of calling in Saint Germain, and it's calling in the violet ray to transmute the Lion's Gate portal, to actually transmute the whole corridor from now leading up to that full moon in Aquarius on the 11th. It's as though, okay, well, Christ. Right, what I'm being shown now is this corridor between now and the 11th, the full moon in Aquarius. I'm being shown it as a corridor or a tunnel, but it's more like a corridor. And it's as though somebody's got a hand grenade. This is like a malevolent force. Someone's got a hand grenade, they've taken it off, and they've thrown like a smoke bomb down the corridor to try and derail and distract, so people can't even find the gateway. They can't even find the portal. Now, I'm being shown now that the portal itself is safe and it's intact, and all will be well. but I'm being shown this for a reason. We're a powerful band of light workers on my channel. I'm very much in awe of all of you. And I am asking all of us, just those of you that are really resonating with this message and getting what I'm seeing and sensing, can we please surround the time period? It's as though it's a time tunnel. Can we please surround the time tunnel between now, the 26th of July, when I'm making this, right through to the 11th of August, full moon in Aquarius, with violet light, okay? I don't know why, but this is a very important time period. It's a very important portal this year, and it needs to be purified, ready for more souls than normal that will be going through it. Now, what I'm shown is that people like you and me that do this every year, to be honest, we'd make our way through this portal. Metatron's lightening up a bit. He's almost got us like in a gas mask type thing. And it's like we would be down on our, I'm being shown myself, on my hands and knees, crawling through this bloody tunnel with my gas mask on, with people behind me. It's like, come on, this way, and we make it through. But we don't want that. It doesn't have to be that difficult, okay? Because there is a great stream of new people that are waking up, that have never heard of Lionsgate, that don't necessarily even understand the significance of new moons, full moons, Aquarius, Leo. What the hell are you going on about? What does that matter? You know, Ascension, what the hell's that? Powers that were, what's that? People are waking up more and more. We have to purify the tunnel for them. So again, I'm being shown the energy of breath. I'm being shown the energy of air. There are two tools that we need to use. One is the energy of air, and yes, I see you. Mr. Tesla looking at me on the wall as I'm sort of talking this. Okay, he's talking about his wind machine. Okay, did he create a wind machine? Did he create a wind machine? Probably. Wind turbine. Let me just look up Tesla. Tesla wind turbine? I bet it's going to come up with Elon Musk though. That's not what I want. I want Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla. Hold on, guys. Nikola Tesla. Maybe if I just repeat his name as well, this is good. Nikola Tesla wind turbine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there was one. The Tesla turbine is a bladeless centripetal flow turbine patented by Nikola Tesla in 1913. It's completely enclosed in a relatively small compact unit. Okay, I mean, this is way over my intelligence level, to be honest. But anyway, come on, let's try and do this. It looks like that, right? You can look this up yourself, those of you that are interested. It looks like that. I know I do have a few scientists that follow me. Help me out here, please. SOS. Okay, let's be serious. This is important. It seems to be, what I'm being shown is that I'm being shown this time tunnel or corridor or whatever you want to envision it, and we're having to clear it. And I'm being given Tesla's wind turbine to do the job. And for whatever reason, okay? But equally, Tesla's saying it can be simpler than that. You can just call him in. You can call in the energy of Tesla. You also can call in the energy of Archangel Zadkiel and the purple flame, which is transmutation. And you can also call in the energy of the air element. The air element. Right, let me just see what else I can get on this. Tesla wind turbine. Oh, God, of course. Tesla was all about harnessing the waves, wasn't he? And he was about harnessing nature. Yeah, okay, so... You are the wave, he's saying. You are the wave. Okay. Right, this is a bit unrelated, but I was given this today, so I'm just going to bring it in. I know it's another big subject to bring in, and I don't want it to derail this whole video. but we're talking waves. I was thinking today about I don't know what number wave it is we're talking in terms of pandemic, but they're talking about another wave this autumn. I've lost track of what all of the different variants are called. I'm not really giving it much attention anymore, I have to be honest. But anyway, there's new variants in town which will continue because that's the nature of viruses. And so there's going to be another wave coming in. And then this autumn, some countries are going to be trying to bring back restrictions. Now, what I was shown was imagine restrictions as a wave. Imagine we're here, okay? This is just humanity. This is you in England. This is you in USA. This is you in New Zealand, wherever you are, okay? This is you, your community. This might be government, okay? And government wishing to bring in a lot of restrictions back, a lot of new restrictions to come back. And it's like this big wave that wants to come back to this group, to community, to basically, you know, flatline them again. The worst case scenario would be lockdown or other measures. But the thing is, as this wave comes at people, I'm being shown that the wave back from this group, which is like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We won't comply anymore. If that's strong enough, it basically knocks this wave back on its face, and it creates just this huge, for want of a better word, almost like tsunami going the other way, which is a message to the universe, which is like, no, we won't. It's like this, and this group, if they get the energy of Tesla's wind turbine type energy behind it, it's like they can propel and they can push down anything that this group wants to do to enforce. Now, it doesn't have to just be pandemic related. It could be anything. It could be, you know, if you're somewhere like China, and you've got restrictions based on things which aren't linked into pandemic, just in terms of freedom and freedom of speech, for example. Think about censorship in other parts of the world, which is very real. The more that we can push back against it, eventually, you know, this wave doesn't overwhelm these people. We overwhelm this lot. Okay, so it's going to be a really interesting time period. But yeah, Tesla is saying just use the energy of the elements to help as well. And I mean, this is, again, it's a whole other video. I don't want to get too into it on this one, but I want to do some work in terms of how we can control the elements. Because we are air, we are fire, we are water, we are air, etc. So I see a lot online about, powers that were, and they're manipulating this, they're doing this is why the fires are happening, even if that were true, and it may be true, I don't know, I'm not going to get into it here, but if it was true, if they can do it, you can do something, okay? So again, it's the fight back, the fight back begins. And I'm just going to write that down because that might indeed be the title of this video. The fight back begins. Because I'm being given some very powerful images in this video, and we're also working with some very powerful, stubborn stains on humanity in terms of avarice, greed, envy, irreligiosity, you know, this thing about being off course, following false drivers, following false gods, false idols, which includes consumerism and all of that. You know, this is all pretty deep. And that's why Metatron's showing me this energy of the tunnel, and it's just full of smoke. No wonder humanity can't find its way back to its heart. But we can with the aid of the elements. So rather than seeing the elements as against us the whole time, and that's the next thing we have to fight, start seeing that actually we are the elements. And the more that we can do that and embody that as a group, and we absolutely need to get to a tipping point on that, you know, it's going to tip in our favour quite quickly. I'd just like to pull a card on the tipping point, because I know I was a bit dismissive just now and said, oh, no, it's, you know, ages off. But, you know, I'm prepared to go back and ask the question again, because that was what I was feeling. But let's just pull a card. I'm going to go for a tarot card. And interestingly, yesterday, the card that came out, I'm using the Lionsgate Way Tarot, was the Emperor. So I'm going to use the Emperor here as let's just call it old Earth. Okay, so this is the structure of old Earth. This is, I'm not budging. This is the way things are. This is the way we do things. This is how this world operates. This is who is in control. And, you know, I'm not yielding my seat, okay, to new earth energies. I'm not yielding my seat to those that live from the heart. I know what I know, I have what I have, and I'm hanging on to it, thank you very much. That's the energy of the Emperor in this reading. So let's see, how close to tipping point are we? Metatron, please help us here. How close to tipping point are we? July the 26th, 2023. Show me how close to tipping point are we? Because I know we get there eventually, but let's just see, where are we now? Well, okay, it's sort of what I said before. Nine of Swords, there's a lot of worry about the state of the world. There's a lot of worry about we're never going to get there. There's a lot of worry about we're never going to get to tipping point. And it's not helped by the fact we've got the Seven of Swords, which is devious, manipulative, dark energies. But I'm being told here that what is being portrayed is, it's not as dark as that which is being portrayed. Now, again, very easy to dismiss that message. Well, what are you going on about? You just said open your curtains and you can see stuff going on. It was something that happened in my town last night, which wasn't very nice, etc. Yes, bad things happen. Negativity is out there. We know that. But I'm feeling at grassroots level, it's not as bad as we think it is. It's being manipulated to appear as though there's two moons here on this card. Two moons. Yeah, this is the Leo new moon and the Aquarius moons. I keep getting the same message. This corridor, it's as though powers that were are wanting us to think that it's a bit hopeless doing this work. What's the point? What are you doing all that for? Nothing ever changes. Nothing changes. It's worse than it's ever been. All of this stuff. But at grassroots level, that is not the truth, because the next card on the bottom of the deck is the Seven of Pentacles. 7-7, interestingly. So this is saying if you keep working hard and you keep working clever and you keep working together, the fruit comes off the tree. You get a good yield. And it's interesting because the 11th of August is something called Lunar Lammas, which I believe is linked into harvest time, something like that. So this would be appropriate. Also, in this diary that I've got here, there is the most beautiful little poem. You know, I sometimes read you poems. This is called Mud Pearl, and it's written by a lady called Rachel Cruz in 2014. And it says, sooner or later the sand gets in. It's only a very small little poem. I'm going to read it to you. It's from the Wee Moon Diary, 2022. But this is Rachel Cruz, 2014. It's her words. It's called Mud Pearl. I had believed if I was to become a pearl, I would no longer be messy. I had believed if I tamed my imperfections, I would be loved. I had believed my wildness would strip me of my dignity. Now I see that without my wildness, imperfections and mess, I could not be part of humanity. I am the swirl of night becoming herself in the first kiss of dusk. I am night before she is confident of her blackness. I am becoming the dark rapture from where everything is born, pure, are light, imperfect, messy, and wild. It was such a beautiful piece of writing, that. Well done, Rachel. But that spoke to me this morning, and it's speaking to me again now, because I'm just sensing there is a lot of us needing to get down and dirty in the mud. Now, hear me out. What I mean by that. What I mean by that is there's trickery afoot trying to prevent us from stepping further into the light. We know this. I'm not telling you anything new. But now we've looked it in the face. We're not particularly fazed by it. You can't face it with fear. You look it in the face. You look the darkness in the face. And you see it as the grand game that it actually is. In between lives, all of this makes sense. When we are stuck in a 3D reality and somebody says it's all a game, people get very offended. What do you mean it's all a game? I've been hurt, I've been this, I've been that, I am this. You're so much more than anything that's ever happened to you. We are all so much more than what's happening around the world. The number of people at the moment who are wanting me to, can you please read on Trudeau? Can you please read on Jacinda Ardern? Can you read on this? Can you read on that? Well, I could do, but the reality is, and again, this is really going to trigger a lot of people, when you see things from a much higher perspective and in between life type situation, whoever is in power, you can still live a good life. Yes, it might be different. There might be things that you can't do that you want to do. But how much power are you giving these people? You know, right now in the UK, we've got a leadership contest because Boris has been booted out. And so it's a choice of two, Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak. They will be elected by the Conservative Party, not by the public. And, you know, I'm not wishing to offend, but it seems to be a choice of somebody who hasn't got a clue, as opposed to somebody who's completely out of touch. That's our choice. So what am I going to do with that, whoever comes in, whichever one of them is elected? Am I going to go into a woe is me type scenario and just stop living, stop existing? No, I'm just going to get on with my life. This is what I mean by getting down into the mud. I keep being shown by Metatron. God, I used to hate doing this. When I used to work in corporate life, you know, you'd occasionally go and have a rah-rah, you know, like a team building exercise. We're all going to go and have a team building exercise, and we're all going to go paintballing, or we're going to go, what I'm being shown here is, I mean, some people would love this, but it's my idea of hell. But Metatron's saying I need to get with it. So it's, you know, like an obstacle course. I'm being shown the part of the obstacle course. This is where we are right now, where, you know, there's like the big net over the muddy patch, and you have to go under the net, and you're crawling like that to get to the other side. Some people find that fun, guys. Some people find that fun. That's exactly where we've got to get to, because that's what's being done to us. That net that's over us, whether you believe it's Justin Trudeau's energy or whoever it is, you know, it doesn't have to be about politics. It could be anything. You know, get under it. Come on, we can do it. It's like we've all got to be a bit Commandos. That's not Go Commando. That is be Commandos. I'm being serious. We've got to be like Commandos. Okay? That's what I'm being shown. That's clearly what I'm being shown here. It's like whatever they throw at us, so what? You know, we can do it. If I am going to do it soon, I keep wanting to do a compilation of inspirational people that have got me through 2022 so far, okay? And they would be, some of them you know, because they're people that I've covered on this channel. They would be people, some of them are private, so I'm not going to tell you who they are because they're people I actually know, but some of them absolutely are in the public eye. It is like the Novak Djokovic's of the world. It is the Johnny Depps. I know not everybody likes them, but I do. I think they're great. Neil Oliver, love him. Dr. John Campbell, love him. I don't know, there's loads of people that I respect actually out there from all sorts of walks of life. But, you know, again, when you think about soul tribe and you think about the sheer number of people that are with you, that are in alignment with your values, that sort of see life a little bit differently, that are the wild men and the wild women, and I'm being shown Braveheart now by Metatron, okay? And we're gonna meet whatever resistance comes our way, whatever energy comes our way, whatever smoke bomb they want to throw down that tunnel, we're gonna be able to cope with it. So I'm just feeling that very, very strongly. That is the message. It's not what I thought I was going to be talking about today, but it is what we are being led to have in our minds as a visual. Right, I am now going to just pull a couple of cards for the Leo new moon on the 28th. Shall I just do the dice one more time for the Leo new moon? So where the hell had we landed? Were we on at 8? That was the final place, wasn't it? Avarice. Come on, let's try and at least raise the vibration up a couple of notches from all of this lower stuff. Come on. Right, that's what British people say all the time. Right. Okay, number 8. Leo new moon. Leo new moon. Archangel Metatron. Leo new moon. 2. Oh, thank you God. Thank you, Metatron. We can get through all of this because 2 takes us to 10. I love Metatron. 10 is the energy of purification. If we purify, everything I've been saying, if we purify, if we're using Tesla's word wind turbine, energetically just calling it in, if we're using Archangel Zadkiel's purple ray and transmutation, if we're using the element of air, etc., Metatron, all of our guides and our higher self, we can purify our way through all of this lower stuff. And what happens with that? We land on an arrow that takes us all the way up to number 23, which is the celestial plane. And can you see the celestial plane is just orange and yellow fire. I don't know about you, but that looks very much like the Lion's Gate energy. So we get there. But, you know, I tell you what I think. I think that when you have to work for something a bit, it actually is all the sweeter when you get through it. It's all the sweeter when you get through the portal. Having faced your sorrow, having looked at where you're greedy, having looked at where you're envious, having looked at irreligiosity, which is to do with, am I actually on track, or is this ego talking, or, you know, am I just, am I in alignment? All of this, if we can work through these lower energies, and that just means thinking about it, thinking about how you feel, not running from how you feel, being present, acknowledging it, being silent. There's a purification process that's happening. And if we're able to do this, which we are, we shoot all the way up to the arrow and we find ourselves in the celestial plane. And the celestial plane is where the guy basically was. The guy who had the near-death experience, that's where he landed. And it rearranged everything for him because it reminded him how beautiful this life is, how it's worth being here. You know, he's inspired now to make the music, to do the pictures. And the beautiful thing is when he paints, he can feel spirit with him. As I say, we don't have to die to have this experience. This is like a death that we're going through. This corridor is like a death that we're going through between now and the 11th of August. It's the death of the old us. It's the death of the old ways. And it's probably the death of the old world. If enough of us can get through the tunnel, we're going to substantially tip the scales. You know, I'm not going to say to tipping point because I think that's a bit of a grandiose claim. But we're certainly helping, you know, the situation greatly. Okay. I sort of want to leave it there because it's such a beautiful place to leave it, but I am just going to pull one card for us for Leo New Moon on the 28th. Anything else that hasn't been said, please, Metatron? The Justice card is the only card in the deck. I can see it. It's the wrong way. I think it's the Justice card. Look, that's the one card that's sticking out of the deck. So we have Justice. Maybe that is the card, actually. Maybe that is the card. Decide what we want. A balancing out of rights and wrongs. What goes with the Justice card? Actually, no. Okay, well, we've got the World on the bottom of the deck, the completion of a cycle. Because it's almost like I want to put the Justice card with the Emperor in this deck. Because remember, this is like old Earth. This is, you know, I'm not budging. This is how we do things. This is the old way. I'm in control. You know, I'm the one in control. I'm the leader of the pack. And I sit on this big throne and nobody else can sit on the throne. This lady here, which is the divine feminine energy, she just is, she's fair. She's not sitting. Oh no, she is sitting on her throne. Almost looks like she's not. No, she has got a throne. Okay, so she's still got the position of power. But it's a transference of power from the masculine to the feminine, the divine feminine. And of course, this is a collective energy. It's a tipping within us of our patriarchal male energy, which we do still carry. Otherwise, it wouldn't be out there displayed in the world. We wouldn't be able to see examples of it. It's only out there in the world because we still have parts of it within us. But it's tipping towards this more feminine energy. But you know, she means business as well, and she's here to help bring the world back into balance, but to bring you back into balance. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. Sort of just can't resist one more card from the Metatron deck. The card of love. Okay, so Metatron's just ending with the energy of love, self-love and nurture. And that ties quite nicely into the poem that I read, which was about the mud pearl. If I had believed I was to become a pearl, I had believed if I was to become a pearl, I would be no longer messy. I had believed if I tamed my imperfections, I would be loved. I had believed my wildness would strip me of my dignity. Now I see that without my wildness, imperfections and mess, I could not be part of humanity. You know, the pearl basically comes from abrasion, from difficulty, from challenge. We are the pearls of New Earth. Okay, guys, much love. I'll be back. And yes, I will do something closer to Lionsgate as well on 8/8 for you. Take great care. Turn those wind turbines on, okay? And yeah, Tesla feels close. Very close. Bye, guys. Bye. Please like and share the video as well. Helps get it out there to new people. Thank you. Bye.